seeing those results on paper, now all of a sudden, that's me. Now I know where it is. So it was it was alarming, but at the same time, now I know what it is. Now I get it. Well, my name is Bill McHie. I've been in here probably 30 years in town. So I grew up in the Quad City area, but lived here for a really long time as living in Bloomington-Normal. Mm-hmm. Growing up, I didn't have a lot of experience other than working in a construction field. And also I worked at the airport for Federal Express. And back in the day, I remember putting hearing protection on right around my neck and left it there as the loud noises were going by and radial engines starting up and jet noises. So everything was loud, but you didn't wear hearing protection. You just went about your way and you used the equipment, went home, and if your ears were ringing a bit, it's okay. Went to sleep the next day, it should be calmed down a little bit. You're okay. Later on in life, I'm working for a division of rehab services. I'm a counselor. I'm helping people with disabilities find jobs. That was my field of work, deaf education. I was an interpreter for the deaf. So I would help clients to go get the hearing aids and help them to assimilate better into their jobs. But I'm noticing that I couldn't pick up conversations, or I'm missing things, or sitting in a room, I couldn't quite pick up the details. So I'd have to, hey, give me the notes, make sure this is doing okay. The other thing that really got me was the tinnitus. Or tinnitus, whatever you call it. The ringing in my ears just kept getting worse and worse. And I didn't really notice it at the beginning, but 10, 15 years ago, now it's starting to get louder and louder. So when it's quiet, that noise is just constant, and it's getting louder and louder every year. There was times where I knew I couldn't quite pick up things, so I would tend to either sit up close in a meeting or I would avoid meetings. I also noticed that it was more of a personal thing, where now all of a sudden I'm avoiding situations. Singing in the choir, it was kind of fun, but if you couldn't quite hear the other groups and I could just hear the bass guys around me, that's one thing. But if you couldn't blend with everybody else, you're not really a great choir member here, so sorry. So little things like that where you start to regress, or you just start to carve yourself out, and all of a sudden you isolate yourself. Your world starts to get smaller, and all of a sudden that becomes either depressing or you're isolating yourself. It's just, it becomes more difficult. And all of a sudden then you wake up one day, you realize, hey, this isn't the way I want to live. I mean, this isn't working, right? When I realized I needed it, that was the part I was quite reluctant or resistant about. I'm thinking all I had to do in all these years was help other people. That was great. That was my passion. I loved that. I still miss it. So all of a sudden now I'm like, I think I'm in that category now. I need the help. Oh man. So I didn't want to be in that group. I didn't want to have to need hearing aids. But all of a sudden I'm realizing, I know in my head knowledge, I need them. I think it's going to be beneficial. Yeah, but I was quite resistant to doing that. But after going to a restaurant and not being able to hear my wife talk to me, or having her tell me, hey, by the way, I have to say that again, or did you hear me the first time? Or sitting there and hearing that ringing, just constant, getting worse and worse and worse over the years. That was it. I just decided that time's up. I know I needed them. I just didn't do anything about it until, walked into the office and said, instead of my clients, this is an appointment. This is my appointment and I need one today. Yeah. What prompted me to use BNA was the fact that I had already worked with them. I knew Deb Pitcher way back in the day, and then I had worked with her. So I knew the professionalism, I knew their services. They were so helpful and so particular about what they were going to do with my clients and helping them out. And I could see the successes. So I knew if I'm going to use anybody in town, that's the place I'm going to go. So it was a personal thing for me, but I knew exactly what I was going to get because I had worked with her professionally. So that was my decision. From the transition from Deb to Natalie, I didn't even realize that Natalie needed hearing aids, wore hearing aids either. It's the same thing. And yet I knew that I could relate to her professionally, great. I came to her as far as a business partner, I get it. And then I realized, oh, hearing aids? You get this. Okay, so again, you make that relation. And when you can talk to somebody who understands because they've lived it or they wear aids as well, now you get it. It just makes it that much more solid on your trust and that you're moving forward with wearing the hearing aids. I remember that first day very well. It was a little difficult because, again, I was quite resistant. And yet today, instead of just handing some papers or talking about another client or doing some business, all of a sudden, I'm sitting in the chair. I'm sitting in the booth. Yeah. Can I hear that beep or not? Or, I think I heard it. I'm not sure. Oh my gosh, now it's me. So I was nervous, and yet I was anxious because I really, really wanted to know, how bad is this? Is it really going to work? And, is it just the tinnitus, or do I really have a hearing loss? Do I really need these things? I remember the process and sitting in that booth, and it's quiet as could be. I know you need to do a hearing test in an environment where it's going to make sense. So I've seen people do hearing tests in other locations or out in the open, but I knew this was going to be great. But yet I'm sitting in this booth and it's very, very quiet. And all of a sudden I'm hearing the beep, or the beep's getting smaller or less loud. It's quieter. And all of a sudden, did I hear it? Did I not hear it? All of a sudden, is this my moment? I don't know. So it was a little overwhelming. And at the same time, I was anxious. I was leaning forward. I was just anxious about, is this really going to give me some answers or not? When I saw the results, I knew I had a hearing loss. I didn't realize it was that bad. So all of a sudden, oh my gosh, now you see the graph. Now you see it. I can relate it to, as a kid, you had that great stereo, you had the equalizer, all the buttons. Oh yeah, it's wonderful. Well, all of a sudden it's go along there, and all of a sudden someone took the equalizer and they dropped the top end off. So mine is a high frequency loss. So I could hear voices and someone that's singing bass next to me. Great, we're right there. The sopranos up front. What's that? Yeah. So it was like seeing those results on paper. Now all of a sudden, that's me. Now I know where it is. So it was alarming, but at the same time, now I know what it is. Now I get it. And that's exactly where I need the help. But now I know I'm not completely gone. It's just, I need some help in that high end there. That's going to make a difference. I remember Deb Pitcher putting my first set of hearing aids in, and they were great, programmable. I mean, beautiful. I got great hearing aids. So she put those things on, and all of a sudden, poof, everything is like, it's like everybody turned the equalizer up, and now it's a rich sound. I remember hearing the typewriter or someone hitting a keyboard even. It wasn't even a typewriter, maybe just a keyboard out in the office. Oh my God, I didn't know those clicked that loud. All of a sudden, it's like, it was a full, rich sound that I could finally hear. So it's like someone turned the volume up, but not everything. It's all balanced. It's a full, rich sound. I loved it, but I remember having a tear in my eye because it was all of a sudden, I get it. Now this is how it's supposed to be. And why did I wait so long to get these darn things? When I put these hearing aids on, all of a sudden, I get in the truck to go home. I turn the blinker on. Tick, 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 tick. Oh my God, is that loud? Well, no, it's not loud. It's just I didn't hear it. I can remember going back and sitting down with Betty, and we went to dinner. And all of a sudden, I could sit across from her in a restaurant where it's kind of loud. I get it, but I can, there again, the programmable aids. So I can click a button, and now I can hear my wife talk to me across the table at a restaurant, and we can have a conversation without her saying, yeah, or me saying, can you repeat that again? What was that you said? So it was comfortable. I remember that. Now that I've got them, I can sing in the choir at our church. I can go to dinner. I can enjoy all kinds of environments without worrying about them. And now it's such a natural. You get up in the morning, They're quite simple. You don't even have to put batteries in them. Their batteries are inside the hearing aids. Just drop them in the thing and charge them all night. You're great. But the richness of what I'm feeling now is I can go to meetings. I can sing in that choir. I can drive a truck and not have to worry about it, because now you don't have to have a hands-free big headset. Touch that button, phone rings, I'm still driving down the road. It's okay. It's really quite helpful and much more safe for me, and enjoyable. Now I don't have to worry about it. I can communicate with anybody. I can hear radios on the trucks much easier than I could before. So it's really made a heck of a difference in how I work and how I operate every single day. I remember when I first got my hearing aids, I was still employed as a counselor, helping folks with disabilities and helping them to find a job. I was working over at ISU and helping kids to go to college. And I can remember sitting across from somebody and they were, oh, I think I need hearing aids, or I'm not quite sure. Or they came in with a set of hearing aids, they needed some new ones. But I remember particularly folks that had never had a set of hearing aids were always concerned or resistant, or the unknown was a little scary too. So I'm sitting there talking to them, and here's the things that would be beneficial. So I'm talking, again, head knowledge, and we're going across the table and, well, what do you think? I think this would be great. And well, they really do help you. And by the way, all of a sudden, oh, you've got, well, yes, I wear them too. And it's really is helpful. And so after I talk to them, these things are really kind of nice. You ought to try them. So immediately someone connects to you. Now they're like, oh, well, if you're wearing them, yeah, you didn't even notice, did you? Yeah, but let me tell you how this helps me in my life. So suddenly I realize in my professional life, I can connect to people. They know that I know this is really going to help you out. Trust me. There are some sounds that I truly enjoy. I like to sing in the choir at our church. So I go to Wesley Church here in town, and we have a beautiful pipe organ. I love to sit there and, it's great when you're hearing that thing, but back to me talking about the equalizer, or the sounds when you're sitting out in that congregation. If you're sitting up there with a choir, it's kind of cool too. I'm right with my back against these pipe organs, and man, it's wonderful. But as you're sitting there, all of a sudden with hearing aids, now that is a full, rich, beautiful sound. So now all of a sudden this pipe organ comes alive. It's a beautiful, rich sound that I don't know that I could have appreciated prior to having hearing aids. Now that I've got them, everything's on. It's like you took the equalizer and everything's bumped up, and it's beautiful. Another sound that I missed before was in meetings or being able to talk to people or just hearing voices. Now I can go and sit down with Betty across the table at a restaurant, and we can have a conversation. It's great without having to lean over or what'd you say or just breaking up that conversation because you're feeling bad about not being able to connect. I think a third one was birds chirping. I mean, when you're sitting there in the morning, you're getting up and you're even out at the farm. I'm out there really early in the morning and you can hear birds going by and you hear that little chirp. That's fantastic. But I got to tell you, the best one is if you're going to church and you're seeing a new baby and they're walking in there and you can hear that little giggle, or you hear a baby just starting to squirm and move a bit. There's nothing better. And to hear that and now to be able to pick that up, I think I missed all that before. And it's such a rich, full palette that you can now pick up instead of just one color or all the bass notes. Now you've got this rich palette of sounds that is just making your life much, much fuller and better. I think BNA has the professionalism and the fact that they're all doctors of audiology. So I like the fact that when you're walking in the door, for me personally, it made a difference on a professional level, but then still knowing that they've got the background to doing a complete evaluation and not just sell hearing aids. They make that connection for you. They're gonna find out if you're in construction or if you're in office settings or what you're doing or what's your field of work or what do you want to do, and then make those connections. What type of hearing aid would be best for you, or or what is it you want to do, and then try to make those connections with the devices that they have available for you. So, and not just any hearing aid. It's the hearing aids that would be best for your situation. So I think it's just phenomenal that their professionalism and their longevity of having such a reputation in town. I don't think I'd go anywhere else. So my advice is, don't be hesitant. You just need to get somebody to encourage you to go. So first off is just find somebody that's got the background or the professionalism and the doctorate level so that they know what they're doing. Go get a really, really good evaluation. Get that baseline. Find out what the issues are. Is it ringing in the ears? Is it the high frequency loss? Is it whatever it is? But find out what that is first. Then start matching up what would be best for you. So when you're going to a car lot, you're just not, here's the keys to whatever they got. It's, no, do you want a truck? Do you need a car? You want a convertible? It's so the same thing for hearing aids. You don't just need a one size fits all. Go to a professional, get the evaluation, find out exactly what you need, let them assist you in finding out what's best for you in your situation. My second piece of advice would just be talk to somebody that's wearing some hearing aids. Give me a call. I'll talk to you. But even connecting with someone who's gone through that or had that experience, even talk to your audiologist. They'll let you know of somebody or like I said, give me a call. But talking to somebody else that's gone through that experience, then you can kind of relate to where they've been and why they're resistant. I get it. I lived it. But I can tell you on the other end, on the flip side, boy, after I got them and now that I'm wearing them, I wear them every day now. So it makes sense to me now. Now, I'm a member. I'm in that club. I get it. And it's okay to be here. So now it's talk to somebody, get some experience, and then and they'll let you know why you should be in this place.